Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and today I'm going to teach you how you need to niche in order to get rich. I want you guys to learn how to stand out in a saturated market. So many of you guys who are online entrepreneurs, aspiring online entrepreneurs, network marketers, digital marketers, influencers, wannabe influencers, coaches, you have an online store, you are trying to drive traffic even to a physical business or a medical practice. As long as you have a business or want to have a business, you have to learn what I'm teaching you today. Some of you have probably seen on the interwebs, you've got a niche, and some people pronounce it niche, and I don't because it doesn't rhyme with rich, and I like things to rhyme. So if it's giving you a rash that I'm not saying niche, feel free to DM me. Would love to hear it. I love the debate. Anyway. So I want to give you guys my take on it. You can look up lots of different leaders and people who are successful digital marketers, and each of them have a slightly different take. But one thing we all agree on is it must be done. You must niche to get rich, period, end of story. And you have to niche in a certain way. You might think you're niching, and I guarantee you, you're not niching enough. It's kind of like what I teach you guys with charging for your services. You think you're charging a lot, and it's always that you're not charging enough. Once in a while, I get somebody who has way inflated prices, but it's like 1% of the time. The rest is you're not charging enough. Everyone thinks they promote too much. They talk about their services too much. They have a fear of selling too much. And it always is the case that no, you're actually not doing it enough. So it's the same premise with niching. But I also know in listening to other podcasts and hearing other people speak, when they talk about niching, they still leave people itching. Ooh, that rhymes. They're itching to learn more about niching. They're not quite getting to the point. They just say how important it is. Maybe they give a couple of examples, but it still leaves a lot of you I know kind of confused. And then it's like, well, if I do that niche, is that really niching enough? I get this question all the time in my DMs, and I rarely have I ever said, you've nailed it. There are some times I do, which is great because we all need that validation if we did, but rarely that's the case. So I see this a lot, especially when it comes to people who are in the wellness, health, and fitness fields. You know, we know that that's a very saturated business. It's saturated because where there's money, there's businesses. Where there's money, there's more humans. But where there's lots of money, there's lots of money in it. It's a multi, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollar business, internationally. The reason is because there's so many buyers, right? So there wouldn't be all those businesses if there weren't customers. That's like the classic, right? Supply and demand. So yes, is the beauty industry have a lot of freaking products? Yeah, you're damn right they do, but there's always room for more as long as you carve out a certain spot. But what I notice with like health, wellness, fitness people, you guys have really big hearts and you want to help everyone. And you know that you can, because who doesn't need better health practices or anxiety relief or help with overcoming, traumatic experiences or gaining confidence, mindset work, healing your body, learning nutrition, developing more muscle mass, losing fat. Who doesn't need help with that, right? So there's so many different people you can help. But that if you try to help everyone, you will end up helping almost no one. I used an analogy in my post that was promoting this podcast today. So if you guys were too lazy to read it, which by the way, a lot of people are, you should read my posts. Like, it's good shit. Anyway, the analogy I have in there, because you guys know I love a good analogy. And I feel like you guys like my analogies. It helps you learn. So let me know if that's true. Like, take a screenshot of this episode and tag me in it at ProjectME with Tiffany. I'll reshare it in my stories, which, by the way, is a really good benefit for you as well to gain more followers. Just saying. You should take advantage of that. What the hell was I saying? Oh, my analogy. Okay. So if you just... Not that like you guys listening are really into fishing, but just go with me on this. So if you're like going fishing, right? And it's ocean fishing and your whole mentality around it is, I'll just be happy to catch anything. So you have an experienced fisherman going, okay, so what type of fish are you wanting to catch today? Sir or ma'am? Oh, I just want to catch something. I'll feel good if I catch something. That'll make, that'll be great. Like, that'll be exciting. Okay. Says the experienced fisherman. It's like, okay, well, it doesn't really work like that. So without you maybe even knowing it, that experienced fisherman or guide who's taking you out has determined what fish he's going to go after to help you catch, because he knows that if he doesn't determine that, he won't know where to take you in the water, what type of bait to use, what type of fishing pole to use, even what boat to take you out on. And you have to take into effect the time of the year and the temperature of the water and the calmness of the sea. Okay. So if you guys go out and just say, I'll be happy to take anything, I can catch anything, you'll end up getting like a tire or a dirty diaper, or you'll end up getting some crap fish, right? But most likely you'll end up with trash. Sadly, there's a lot of trash in our oceans. You'll end up getting a bunch of seaweed, or you'll end up getting something that's like, or, maybe once in a while you get lucky, but I can tell you're not like catching a blue marlin. You're not like catching some glorious fish experience, even if you're throwing it back. So in order to be able to catch, like I'm saying, like your ideal client. So again, with the analogy, like a blue marlin, like some beautiful, beautiful specimen of a fish, a large fish, a trophy fish, right? You go out and set out for that blue marlin, that ideal client. You're going to end up, and you make that clear to people who are helping you, to people who are experts at catching blue marlins. They will make sure you have the right bait, the right lure, the right line, the right pole, the right boat. They'll tell you the right time of year. They'll tell you the location, what the water needs to be like that day. Does it need to be rough? Does it need to be calm? Somewhere in between, to increase your chances to the highest possibility of catching that damn blue marlin. And the chances are pretty high. Okay. And you will end up catching something. This is the whole premise around niching. You just go with anything, you're going to end up with shit. Maybe you'll end up getting lucky and get some low-hanging fruit, but you're not going to keep getting consistently great clients, great customers, repeat customers, especially if you sell products or courses or books or jewelry or shirts or whatever you sell. You're not going to end up with those great repeat buyers. You might get these random one-off buyers. That's like the trash in the ocean. It's like, okay, that's great, but that's not what you're after. That's not what you're going to build a great business and brand with ease by doing that. So I want you guys to look at whatever space you're in, and you're going to ask yourself these questions, and you're going to write this down. You can do this exercise with a fellow, boss babe, boss dude, someone who also wants to do it, who you feel is someone who's open-minded. Share this episode with them, have them listen to it first, and you guys can do this exercise with each other. I think that's a really great idea, actually, because then you have someone else holding you accountable and saying, no, that's not what Tiffany said. That's not specific enough, right? When we try to hold our own selves accountable by ourselves, we can end up getting lazy, and we can end up missing a lot of things. So I think it's best actually if you do this with someone else. So I want you to ask the question to the other person. But if you, of course, I know so many of you are self-sufficient. You're like, Tiffany, I want to do this myself first. Fine. I get you. I'm the same way. So if you're doing it with someone else, ask the question. If you're doing it with yourself first, write this down and say, who is it that I am trying to help? Who is this person that I am trying to help? And you need to describe them as though you see them right in front of you. Who is this person I'm trying to help? I want you to come up with a name for the person. I want you to envision that person. Who are you trying to help? Who are you trying to help? And what is their issue? What are their negative thoughts they have in their head? What do they think when they look in the mirror? What happens when they can't sleep at night? What's causing that? What are secrets they have that a lot of people don't know and they're too ashamed to share? Who is this person you're trying to help? And what is it, second question, what is it you're trying to help them alleviate? What symptom are you trying to help them alleviate? What area of their lives are you trying to help them improve? What specifically are you trying to help them with? Is it gain more lean muscle mass? Is it regulating their hormones? Is it losing abdominal fat? Is it gaining core strength? Is it learning how to have confidence, create confidence out of being insecure? Is it helping recover from disordered eating? What is it? And get really, really specific. You can't get specific enough. And then the next question is, how are you going to help alleviate or help them manage or solve these issues? This is where people get stuck, because it's like, well, I can't all of a sudden take someone's anxiety away or depression away or cure them from an eating, disordered eating. Or I understand that. You don't need to charge money and to have products and services. You just need to help people. When someone is uncomfortable, for example, with what I do as a top business coach, people are not happy with their finances. They're not happy where their business is going. They want something. They don't know how to get there. They feel lost and stuck and confused. They're spinning their wheels and they know they want something more. They hate their job. They want out of it. Their money story is a disaster. They go 5 steps ahead and 7 steps back. Something seems to always be happening and they don't know what to do. That's my person. Do I all of a sudden work with someone and now they're making $500,000 a year when they were just, in $30,000 in debt? No, of course not. I'm not a miracle worker. But what I do is I get them closer to reaching that goal. I get them on their way. They have a plan. They start seeing results. They start uncovering the limiting beliefs that are preventing them from getting there. You're moving the needle. You move the needle and improve someone's life by 10%. You have someone who is a loyal customer and client to you for life. No one is expecting you to take it all away. And if someone is, they have a victim mentality, and I don't want you working with them, because that's very toxic vibes and they need a whole different level of help. So unless your business is as a therapist, like a trained licensed therapist or psychotherapist, you guys are equipped and trained to have those people. I will not take those people on as clients. There's a whole messed bag in there that needs to be dealt with. All right. So when you answer that third question of, what is it you do? What is it you do to alleviate that? What are you doing to help ease that pain? What are you doing to help get them closer to that goal? What are you doing to help create confidence, help give them more energy, help make them feel less inflamed and lighter, help them feel more peace and serenity, help them feel more grounded, right? What are you helping them get towards? And I want you to write that down. And if it's like several things, that's okay. I want you to write them all down, and or you're doing this with someone else, say it to the other person. I want you then this is why it's good, again, to do it with another person, but I want you to look at your piece of paper and really get honest with yourself when you're looking back and you have all these descriptive words. You want to use a lot of feelings words, a lot of descriptive words. And I want you to look at those and start either use a highlighter, hello, Office Supply Life, or just circle the words that you really feel stand out, that are affecting your ideal client the most, that you know you could help move the needle on and improve and help them work towards the best, and you're the best equipped for that. And I want you to circle those. And there might be some on there that doesn't really light you up to help them with. So those don't make the cut. And that's okay. That doesn't make you a bad person. That just means that's not in your zone. That's for someone else. Because if it doesn't light you up and get you charged up as fuck to help someone even move the needle of improvement by 10% on those things, those need to be X'd out, scratched off your list, because those aren't meant for you. The divine has not chosen you to help people with that at this exact time in your life. Maybe 10 years from now, maybe 5 years from now, it'll be that, but it isn't right now. You need to stay in your lane. You can't help people with all things. You are not God. You're not an angel. It's not happening. And you're not designed to, and it's a disservice to other people to do that. Even though you think it's being generous, you're actually doing them a disservice of not being extremely specific on what you help people with, because you can't be a genius at helping people with all the things. You just can't. So I want you to make sure you stay in your lane. So now you've circled all those things, right? There shouldn't be too many. Those key things that you help people with. And now I want you to create a single sentence using those words, and not like a 90-word run-on sentence that I used to do and get like bad marks for it in high school. What a surprise. I went on and on and on and on. I want you to do a single sentence. So you can start it with I help, I teach, I guide, and then you fill in the blank. Who is it you help, teach, or guide? Who is it? Or I show, I create. Okay, so I want it to start out with that. And then the next, that blank is, okay, who? What? And don't just put women, don't just put men, certainly don't just put people, right? It needs to be, you need to fill it in, needs to be specific. And you already have this because you've done the exercise. So I'll just use guide as an example. So I guide blank to what? What do you guide them to? So you want to take it to a point that's discomfort and doesn't feel good to your ideal client. And you take them to what? What do you help guide them? What do you do for them that helps alleviate the thing that they're kind of stuck at? I don't care if you're a graphic artist, this still works, or an accountant, this still works. You don't have to be in a feely profession or a health-based profession. You can be in a vanity profession. You could be a network marketer for a skincare company. Okay. And your focus could be, I help 50 plus year old women, age with grace and age with grace and create glowing and bring the glow back to their skin. That's what just came up to me because as I was saying it off the cuff, I was like, what do a lot of women I know who are over 50 complain about, like at the gym or whatever, like what they want with their skin? And it's usually like they want that youthful glow back. They know that like all the wrinkles and all the shit, you can't make that go away. I mean, well, you can have like full facial surgery, but in terms of like over the counter stuff, what they want is they want to age gracefully and have that youthful glow in their face that ends up going away with age. Your face can get really dull. Okay. So that's what they want. So take them from who you help and what it is you help them with. And it better be something that they want, right? It better be something that they really, really, really desire. See how specific that was? So let me use another example of, let's say, we'll use like disordered eating. And I don't mean someone who's like in the throes of bulimia or anorexia. Again, if you are not a therapist, a licensed therapist or a psychotherapist, you should not be treating those people. But it's someone who maybe, does emotional binge eating and they're more comfortable working with a coach, someone who has been there, than they are working with a therapist, or maybe they work with both. So who is it that you guide? I guide women who emotionally eat. I guide women who eat their feelings. And what do you do? Because that's the term. You want to talk in the language of that ideal customer. What is it that women, I mean, it could be men too. I'm just using women, but what is it like? What are the terms that and the words those women actually use? Not something marketing language that you think sounds good. What do they use? Talk how your ideal customer talks. Write how your ideal customer writes. You see what I'm saying? So they might say, they might probably say, I eat my feelings. I hear a lot of women who say that. So it's like, I teach women who eat their feelings another way to manage their nutrition for optimum, health and energy. I don't know. I pulled that out of my ass, but you see what I'm saying? You're getting really specific and you're speaking the language of that person. It has to fit in a sentence, because what you're going to do with this sentence, number one, that's your niche. Number two, simple sells, complexity repels. You need to be, if you're really clear, it needs to be boiled down to a sentence. Yes, that doesn't mean you don't also, if we go back to skincare, you don't also offer stuff for cellulite or for lips or for eyelashes. Yes, you have all that too, but you need to focus on that one clear thing and solving that one clear problem. And once you grow, things can evolve and your niche can expand, right? But you've got to start somewhere with people. Also, I would have you take this sentence. This sentence is going in your bios of all your social media stuff, your website, your blog, your vlog, all your stuff. And when you talk to people, if you have a podcast, if you're on a podcast, you're at a networking event, when someone goes, what do you do? A family member, someone at Costco, what is it you do? You repeat the same exact sentence that you've created. You repeat it enough times, you share it in enough places, and it's that simple and it's in one sentence. People remember it. And when someone comes up to them or they're talking to someone and they say, I'm really having, a hard time getting any traction with my online business. Like none of my jewelry is selling and I'm spending so much money creating it and nothing is selling and I don't know how to get consistent sales. Well, then it triggers in their mind, you know what? Have you heard of Tiffany Carter? No, I haven't. You need to follow her on Instagram and Facebook. You need to follow her. She helps people with that, like getting consistent cash and clients for online businesses. Because they've heard that sentence repeated so many times, this is how you end up getting referrals and people think of you for things, or people think of you for guests on podcasts, or people think of you for guest blog articles, or for speaking events, or for contributors to books. All sorts of things, but you have to do your end of the deal first, and that's this. So if you guys felt that my explanation on this whole niche thing was very straightforward and helpful to you, would you guys do me a favor? I need you to do a 5-star written podcast review on iTunes for me. I keep repeating this because I want to make sure you guys hear it. I have a goal of hitting 200 5-star written podcast reviews by Thanksgiving this year, 2019. It would really mean a lot to me, but also my team behind the scenes that you don't see, that pours their time and their heart into the show. You guys know I do, but I have a producer, I have a coordinator, I have a graphics person, I have a social media person. This would really mean a lot. I read each and every review. I often share them on social media as well. And it just brings so much joy to my heart. And it also helps the show grow as well. If you don't know how to do it, you can simply Google it. How do I leave an iTunes podcast review? And no, you do not have to have an iPhone or a Mac in order to do this. You can be a total Google person. Is it a Google person? A Chrome person, and be able to do it. This is how much of an Apple person I am. I don't even know the terminology. Isn't that sad? All right, you guys. So happy you listened to this. You got a niche to get rich. And I would love to see what niches that you guys came up with your sentences. Feel free to DM me with them at ProjectME with Tiffany. And I'll be honest with you. I'll let you know, like, nope, not niched enough, or you've hit the nail on the head. Take advantage of that free advice. I spend 2 hours every single day, 7 days a week in my DMs to give back, to help you guys and build long-lasting relationships with all of you. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Talk to you guys soon. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.